room and meet all the members of the community. But now I want to take the time to introduce our guest speaker. Dr. Larry Arbeitman is a Manalapan native, graduated from the University of Maryland, attended Life University, and received his doctorate from Logan College of Chiropractic. He's the founder of Upper Cervical Chiropractic of Monmouth, and in just 4 short years has overseen over 35,000 office visits into practice. That's a lot of visits, isn't it? That's a lot of lives that have been changed. Dr. Arbeitman has become one of the most well-respected upper cervical chiropractors in the profession, and currently is working on a postdoctorate program in a diplomat version of the upper cervical form of chiropractic. Tonight, he's going to talk to us and educate us about his current book, The Gift of Hope, Path Through Healing Through Upper Cervical Chiropractic, and highlight some of those key points to help change each and every one of your lives as well. So without further ado, allow me to introduce Dr. Larry Arbeitman.
Well, hello! We're going to have fun tonight. First thing I'd like everybody to do, if you have a cell phone and the ringer's on, please change it to stun. Thank you. Anybody's birthday in here tonight? No? Okay, so if anybody's cell phone goes off, we're all going to sing happy birthday to that person. Okay. So I'm going to be asking you some questions, and so that I don't get bored up here, I'm going to ask for your participation. Raise your hands. And if you don't raise your hands, I'll call on you. You're in trouble, Blake. You're in front. But in all seriousness, first question. How many people in the room want to be healthy and happy? Raise your hands. Yes, we're all on the same page. You now have something in common with everyone here. Tonight I have 2 objectives. 1, to motivate you, and 2, to educate you, and 3, to feed you. We've done that. Accomplished. Typically, we do this event upstairs. Some of you have been to our events upstairs. We can fit 120 plus in the room upstairs, and it is it's a nice setting, but we wanted to be more intimate, so we had it down here tonight. And we continue to do these presentations to educate our community about our cervical care. And the feedback that we've gotten over the years has been nothing short of phenomenal, so I hope that you enjoy your evening here as well. I want to start out by telling you a story. About 3 years ago, the event upstairs was a very special event, and it holds a distinct spot in my heart. I wish I had it on video, and I don't, so I'm going to retell the story. Picture 120 people upstairs, not a dry eye in the room. Karen, do you remember this? Where's Karen? Not a dry eye. Everybody has tears in their eyes as Pat, the mother of Stephanie, is telling a story of Stephanie's recovery and her health. Stephanie was a 16-year-old gymnast when I first met her at Freehold Township High, varsity gymnast. She was an honor student. She was out to the movies one night with her girlfriends, and she went paralyzed from the neck down. Couldn't move. They rushed her up to Robert Wood Johnson. You can imagine the fear in Pat's being. And they ran all the tests, and they came back with a diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome, which, for those of you who don't know, is a progressive neurological disease. In many cases, it can result in respiratory failure and death. The diagnosis was wrong, as many times it is, and Stephanie began to gain function back, movement of her legs and her arms and her torso, but she was left with such chronic pain and fatigue. Every muscle in her body hurt, every joint in her body hurt, that she was out of school. She was forced to homeschool 3 to 4 hours a day. There was 0 social relationships, and she didn't even think about stepping foot on the mat. Pat ran her up to the biggest and best on Park Avenue. She took Stephanie down to Children's Hospital in Philly. She took her to the infectious disease doctor and the rheumatologist. Finally, the doctors, after not being able to come up with a diagnosis, said, your daughter has a virus in her nervous system. Well, for those of you who aren't familiar, you really can't see a virus in the nervous system. It's sort of one of those wastebasket diagnoses. They recommended to Pat that she take Stephanie to a psychiatrist, that possibly it's in her head. So at that point, I guess, it had been a year now since the initial evening, and Pat knew that she had to look elsewhere outside of the traditional model. So from word of mouth, Pat contacted our office, scheduled for Stephanie's evaluation, and Stephanie began care shortly thereafter. I am extremely proud to say that Stephanie is now on scholarship at Seton Hall University, has full function. I spoke to Stephanie today. She called the office, not even knowing I was going to be talking about her tonight, and she's scheduled for Friday. We still see Stephanie for routine visits. See, what Stephanie didn't realize is that she changed so many lives. She changed my life. Because I was a newer practitioner at the time, and you know, when you're going through chiropractic school, it's rah-rah, we can save the world, and there's going to be all these miracles, and you hear all the stories, and you read the case studies in the literature, and then you're in the field, and you want to see it. To watch Stephanie regaining her health was like nothing I've ever seen before. And it didn't happen like a light switch coming on. It didn't. It was like a dimmer being turned back on. She came back. Well, I remember one day she went back to school. Then there was another day where she was able to go back into the gym. Then there was a day where she was able to go tumbling. And then I'll never forget the time Stephanie walked through the front door and she said, "Dr. Larry, I did giants." Anybody know what giants are? That's when the uneven bars, when they go all the way around. Since then, I've been working tirelessly because every day that I wake up, I wonder how many more Stephanies there are. How many people are suffering needlessly out there? And our staff has worked tirelessly too. And each week we meet. We have a staff meeting, a Monday meeting. And we have a portion of our meeting set aside for our magic moments. These are the moments from the week before where we discuss some of the lives that have been changed in our practice. And for those of you who have not been out to our website, just read the patient experiences. They're phenomenal. Over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about how Stephanie healed, what we do as we come full circle. I'm also going to extend to you what I believe to be the greatest opportunity in healthcare in the world. You see, the quality of our life depends on the quality of decisions that we make. And even small changes in our lifestyle can have profound effects on our health. Next question. Blake. No, I'm just kidding. How many people in here would like to be sick? Here's a fact. A third of you will be chronically ill by the age of 65. So look to the left. Do me a favor, look to the left. Look to the right. If they look pretty good, it's you. I'm a positive guy, yes or yes? Here's the positive part of it. You have control over your health destiny. You are where you are today with your health based on the decisions that you made up to this point. That's extremely empowering because you will be where you're going to be in the future based on the decisions you made from this point forward. How many people here are healthier than they were 5 years ago? Raise your hand. Typically, if I were to go around the room and ask the people who raised their hands what they've done, they've made some sort of change or shift in their lifestyle. How many people here believe it is possible, that there's a possibility that 5 years from now you can look back to this day and say, wow, I'm healthier than I was 5 years ago? That's a very important belief system to have in place. So, if we're going to talk about health, and we throw that word around, I think it's really important that we define it. Typically, when I do these presentations, and if I were to put somebody on the spot, I hear one of two answers. If I feel good, I'm healthy. Someone get that? It's not the restaurant's birthday. Typically, I hear, if I feel good, I'm healthy, and if I'm not sick, I'm healthy. How many people would buy that for a definition of health? I'm not saying you wouldn't prefer to feel good and not be sick, but it has nothing to do with your health. Think about this. Cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, hypertension, AIDS, osteoporosis. These are the worst conditions that we have in our society right now, and they're symptomless. In fact, many people don't know that they have these conditions until they wait for a test or a screening or until they're very advanced.